This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
I want to mention there's a lot going on here, a lot of moving parts in professional wrestling. Meltzer would say the latest on Shotgun Saturday Night is that it's scheduled for a January 4th start date. While this hasn't been officially confirmed, my belief is they have a TV deal done and are keeping it quiet for fear WCW will try and buy it out, because you don't book buildings a few weeks out on the hopes you can, at the last minute, put together a TV deal. The show will air live at midnight on Saturday nights and be put up on satellite. It'll air live on a syndicated network they're attempting to put together on both Eastern and Central Time, and on a 3-hour tape delay on the West Coast, with Vince McMahon and Todd Pettengill most likely as announcers. McMahon, Bruce Prichard, and Paul Heyman went to scout various nightclubs in New York City to revolve tapings in. Although Heyman is not an official consultant for the show, it wouldn't be a shock to see him have some sort of involvement in it. What's interesting about that is McMahon had heavily criticized WCW for the expense of going live every week because of the 6-figure costs each week of doing such a show. And now he's doing it himself with similar costs of going live, but doing a syndicated show that has the added expense of perhaps having to buy time, having to put together a syndicated network that will almost surely not reach as many homes as TNT, and being put in a time slot where it's going to be basically impossible to draw the kind of ratings WCW does with its live show. So they can't make nearly as much selling ads for the show. In addition, by running a live show at midnight on Saturday, it'll mean the WWF has to water down its Saturday night shows, since some of the stars will have to be pulled from the tour each week. And Saturday night is theoretically the most profitable night for house shows. Bruce, we've talked a lot about Shotgun Saturday Night, but never really the business side of that. And what Meltzer just said made a lot of sense to me, but I know because I said Dave's name, you're going to fuss and throw a fit now. So your turn.
Why would I fuss and throw a fit? Because obviously he didn't understand the economics of it. And we still continued to run live events in different parts of the country. And the show was an hour show, and we were looking for the novelty of having a live show in New York City in clubs in these different atmospheres. And we used a skeleton crew. So we would bring, certain guys from the tour that would come in, and we didn't use the same guys. So for example, if your main event was going to be Bret Hart, to get people there, then Undertaker was headlining live events, things like that. That was the philosophy behind it. So, again, not understanding our business and just trying to speculate it from afar and not really understanding how business works. Sometimes that's where people get in trouble with rumor and innuendo. We weren't getting any revenue. The clubs got the revenue, and we were able to come in, and our cost was, yes, it was a production cost, but it was down and dirty. It was nothing compared to
Raw or Nitro taping, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a fraction of that. It was a skeleton crew. It was a skeleton truck. It was a satellite truck, and you did have a TV truck, but I mean, we had a quarter of the staff that we would normally have for a full blown television taping.
When you started Shotgun Saturday Night, did you think it might be, for lack of a better word, a lost leader, where, hey, maybe this is not going to be a hugely financially successful, but it would give us a little bit of edge, maybe some of that ECW feel, that cool feel. I don't know. Nitro was definitely, it had the reputation of being the cooler show. I mean, at the time, the NWO was white hot. You're playing catch up ball. And it does feel like, with the influence of Paul Heyman, maybe this is less about let's be as profitable as we can and more about, hey man, let's just try to get some of our edge back. Was that some of the thinking?
No, I mean, yes and no, but I mean, Heyman wasn't involved in it at all, with the exception of going with us to look at nightclubs the first night. Now, Heyman had zero involvement in this at all.
Okay, pretend I didn't say Heyman. Is everything else I said pretty close to accurate? I just don't see how this is hugely profitable on a syndicated network in the middle of the night on a weekend, unless you're just trying to angle for that quote unquote ECW style. You wanted to be hip and cool.
Yeah, it wasn't the ECW style. We were angling for that younger audience that may have to be in at midnight, that, hey, you're coming home at midnight on a Saturday night, which, you look at that a lot of times, that's when, those kids are looking for something else. And it was live midnight. It was kind of like the Saturday night special. You had to tune in and see what the hell was going on. And really, it was, in the beginning, this was an experiment to see, will this nudge a new audience to kind of check it out and sample it? Because you were playing to a completely different audience than your normal syndication and your primetime cable audience. You're syndicating it, you're going live, and you're presenting a different show from a different locale every week.
Who would have been,
it was a different feel.
Who would have been trying to spearhead a syndicated network for Shotgun Saturday Night in this era?
Oh God, I have no idea. There've been so many of those that have been through the syndication and heading that up. I don't know if it was Mike Ortman at that time or who the hell it was.
Well, we know ultimately it's going to have a shelf life, the way you're shooting it. And then it's going to change, and it's going to be something that you guys do whenever you're doing traditional Raw tapings. Why was it scrapped so quickly? Was it just a failed experiment? Was it too taxing to get talent together? Did it affect house shows, or just was it a money loser?
It was the reality of, all right, we've got pay-per-views now on Sundays, and to try and do a show from New York City on a Saturday night and then go wherever it is that you're hosting a pay-per-view on Sunday basically became just not feasible. So we experimented with, the Denim and Diamonds in San Antonio. We experimented with different locales on the road, and, some worked, some didn't. But then, it kind of became, all right, we have this syndicated time slot, and is it really worth the trouble to, you got live events. Okay. If you're going to pull Brett off of that, or you're going to pull Undertaker off of that, is that worth the potential loss on the live events to bring them in to do a Shotgun Saturday Night? And it eventually got down to dollars and cents. We can produce it essentially for free at a television taping, and it's another hour of taping, which equates to roughly maybe 30 minutes of action in the arena. So you could do that before you went live with Raw, and just budget wise it made sense. And we tried it for a while, but it's even with the number of clubs and the number of venues that were really interested in New York, it still got down to, all right, once you hit those 19 or 20, then what? Do you go back to those 19 or 20? And it just wasn't, it was kind of a failed experiment more than anything. It just was one of those that, and you saw it did decent ratings. It did okay in syndication. People bought it. But at that point, was it worth, it wasn't showing any new audience or anything like that.
So let's talk about your favorite Shotgun Saturday Night moment. Off the top of my head, there is the Undertaker tombstoning Hunter Hearst Helmsley onto the escalator. There's Marlena dropping her top, flashing the Sultan to help Goldust get a win. There's the Headbangers showing up as the Flying Nuns. There's the whole Sonny, Todd Pettengill, Tickle Me Elmo sex tape. And then there's Terry Funk calling your mother a whore. What was your favorite?
Well, my favorite was probably the Flying Nuns, but it wasn't necessarily even the debut as much as it was the vignettes that we shot. And it was just so much fun. We took these guys out dressed in a nun habit, and Brother Love dressed as Brother Love in a limo and a camera. And to go, man, I put him in St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan.
Wow.
Like the most, the most famous church in New York. And I had them walk in and we shot it with real reactions from people. And I mean, you know, Shotgun Saturday Night also took the connotation of we were doing shotgun shoots where it was run and gun and no permits, no nothing. It was like, just go, shoot it, and go, run. and a lot of times, literally run. And, you know, I mean, it was the things that we did without permits. You just did it. And I think about the time that after the St. Patrick's Cathedral and all that, you get real people's reactions. We had the nuns, quote unquote, arrested. Well, since we couldn't get anybody to arrest them, we just told the story that they were arrested, and we had them go into a police precinct and walk in the door and then walk out of the door with me, meeting them at the door.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to SaveWithConrad.com.
Like I had just bailed them out of jail. And then walk down the street, jump in the limo and take off. Is you see the cops coming from behind us like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Jump in the car and take off. That was the beauty of Shotgun Saturday Night, doing those kind of things and being able to, we went in, was a Grand Central Station, I think it was, with Cornette and Little Vader, Mini Vader, into the bathroom. It was some of the funniest shit. First of all, to have Cornette, down in the subway and at the bus station and all this stuff, but then also to have Mini Vader, who was from Mexico, didn't speak any English, and Cornette, who his Spanish, his Espanol, was very limited to, I'll have a burrito with double cheese, motherfucker. And they're trying to shoot the shit, and we're shooting. And sometimes we had no idea what we're going to shoot. It's like, hey man, he's got to pee. You picked him up off the bus, which we just put him in with people coming off of a bus, dressed in his Mini Vader shit. Cornette dressed like Cornette was dressed, and then he's got to pee, and Cornette's got to take him to the bathroom. That kind of shit was my absolute. I loved it. It was great, and New York is New York. It's a great place to be able to do that kind of stuff because every corner has something you can shoot.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.